All right, we're back. It's the SilmFilm Script Discussion Season 2, Episode 6. Part 2 or 3. Haven't decided yet. Anyway.
You feeling all right, Nick?
Awesome. All right. So Alex says he'll concede to no more than 8 minutes for the tag.
Yeah,
that's totally falling action.
And remember that we may need to walk the frame out too.
Right.
I think we can structure it so that we don't have to go back to the frame at the end of this episode, and I think we should.
Right.
Yeah.
I know how much Alex
for a very
frame.
Yeah. I think that it might be a good idea just to try to work our way through the episode and see where we get.
Yeah.
I realize that's not good practice in general, but for this time.
I was just going to say the point of, rules of thumb and all that are really good and useful, but don't let, theory distract you from what you need to do in any given piece of work, right?
Well, okay.
To get guidelines.
All right.
It is.
Let's say...
But you have to have good reason to break it. You can't guidelines. You have
to make your episode better, then that's a good reason.
Right. If you intentionally choose to do it for a good reason, that's one thing. If you do it because you're like, I don't know, dude, the last 15 minutes of the show, let's just grieve for Muriel the whole time.
Yeah.
Then
but it'll be pretty clear that the show is bad if the show is bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to be beside us.
All right. Well, let's tentatively pencil in the death of Muriel as our climax.
With 8 minutes after.
It's the most climactic thing that's going to happen.
With whatever minutes are required after.
Well, anyway.
And
so let's pencil that in.
Tag.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back. Back to the beginning. All right. So.
We're an hour in and we're back to the beginning.
Yes. Act 1. Act 1.
Jesus, this thing is crazy.
Act 1. Well, obviously the announcement of the pregnancy should take place in Act 1 unless, well, okay. Really? Teaser, we remind people that Elway is still missing and the guys are still looking for him. And we set up the fact that all of the Vanyar, with the exception of I guess we can have Indus come back in. We show that all the Vanyar are no longer in Tyrion, but everybody's kind of happy. Oh wait, always got to get in. Oh no, the Teleri have to show up.
The Teleri have to show up. That's the other thing that happened this episode.
Oh no. Okay. The Teleri.
Okay. Well, we can open with that. The Teleri needs to get grounded in this episode.
That's our teaser. Bam. Boom.
Yeah. Ase stops the island ferry.
All right. Cool.
Okay,
so it
Alex
is cinematically cool.
All right. So that's how we open with the island's chugging along. It's chugging along, and then it hits the ground and stops. And everyone's like, what happened?
That's not.
Do we want them to be asking, almost, stop the boat, Ase's out there, no, Ase. Do we want that?
Yeah, like, well, not quite exactly the way you described it, but yeah, basically.
Yes, that's totally what I wanted the dialogue to sound like.
I think the question is...
We'll play this tape for the director. Okay, now, what you need to do...
I think the real question is, are the Teleri involved in the decision to stop the island?
Yes.
Because remember, our setup is that Ase can't go to the coast of Valinor. He's not allowed.
Which is why it makes sense.
Yeah. So he's gonna be saying like, once you go there, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to you forever, and they're gonna be like, no, Ase, we can't lose you. So will they say like, well, let's just stop here. That's close enough, or does Ase ground the island without their permission?
No.
Or
They have
Who's making that decision? Is it Ase's decision or the Teleri?
or does Ase say like, well, like there's nothing I can do unless, I don't know, someone were to ask me like to stop the island for some reason.
I like that.
I said to the boss that somebody told me to, that it was really important, and I didn't do like.
It was totally not my idea.
Yeah, it was my idea. And they're like,
You could just have it dropped out here in the ocean, and it'd be all cool.
yeah. Yeah, and I think we've established Ase as a sketchy enough character that like a little bit of underhandedness would be fine.
Yeah. Almost whole crew is pretty much like who the antagonists of this whole mess would have been had Melkor not existed.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Now, if Melkor had not existed, then everything would be perfect, right?
Olmo has the worst of minions.
But everyone would have suddenly noticed what Olmo has been up to the whole time if Melkor went around distracting.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's for sure.
It's true.
And Olmo's always
At the
doing the
end
same
of
thing.
it, he's doing it all in despite of Melkor, right? So.
Anyway, I maybe was taking it a little far there, but Olmo is.
He's still a good.
Olmo and Ase and Uinen are very unpredictable forces. They're good guys, but
Yeah.
They
do their own
thing.
I got a more than fair splash of chaotic to their good. So
yes, that's where I'm headed with that.
Okay. So, all right. So
Ase incites the Teleri to request an island stop.
yes, he's like, I can't do it unless you ask me to.
And they ask him to.
Yes.
So are we gonna have to show the aftermath of that situation?
Later in the episode, when the Teleri finally come to Valinor, we'll probably have someone say, really, Ase, thanks for that. I mean, like, there will be fallout later, but no.
Oh my god! I just realized if we have the Teleri show up at the end of the episode in boats, finally, and Finway's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sad that my wife died, but at least my friend Elway is back."
That'd be weird. I think.
Imagine the fan art.
I think he should actually like show up and comfort his
Elway?
his
No. Elway's not there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, I got my
It's
ways
Elway.
crossed.
You got your ways
I got my
wrong.
ways crossed. I was thinking of Big Way for some reason.
Of Bob Wayne.
Like, why would you
I can't imagine that anyone's going to complain about our characters' names being Elway and Alway. Like, no one's going to have a problem
Elway,
with that.
Elway, Ingway, Finway, Ailway.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
No one will be bothered.
Anytime I see
they'll complain about all the ways in the first half of this, and then for the second half of the season and onward, it's going to be fins.
Yes.
The fins I know.
All the fins.
They anytime I see somebody in the forums recommending something way as a name for a new character, I'm like, no more. Enough.
We've got enough. Yeah. No more Bob Ways.
Anyway,
we have a real show to do.
you have a question,
Real
Karina.
fake show to do.
Related to people's names. When does the Lonely Isle get the name Lonely Isle? Like
When it gets grounded here.
okay,
Yeah.
so could that? I mean, is that a serious name or could it be funny? They're like, well, what are we gonna call it now? It's the Lonely Isle because Ase ruins everything. I don't know. I just think it would be funny. That's my sense of
Well, I guess we're calling it the Lonely Isle for
I feel like Ole is secretly secretly in favor of the decision to drop the island off. Actually,
Yeah. Anytime we can come up with a reason for a name that is unexpected, or that someone gets their name in an unusual way, I think that's a positive thing.
okay.
So people who know this is going to be the Lonely Island, named in a joking manner, and we know it's going to be a super important thing for the next 15, like,
Yeah, we don't have to play it.
What if I say
Alex is saying this show needs more levity.
Calls it that when
Alex says,
Alex, I do have to warn you, the hosts were not necessarily a huge fan of the comedy of manners that exploded during Fenway and Muriel's honeymoon. They did not seem to understand why we needed humor there.
Yeah. What about the Lonely Isle? Because in his little, like, it's a euphemism when he's trying to explain to them that he can't go with them into Valinor. Like he dubs it the Lonely Isle at that moment, where he's like, I've had an awesome time with you guys, and blah blah blah, but I won't be able to go with you. And as close as I can come is this Lonely Isle, right?
Mm.
Okay, I get
it. Okay.
That it will be the Lonely Isle without them, right?
Okay.
Right. So you can use that phrase in dialogue, and say who names it. That's perfect.
Right.
Okay.
Is the one who wouldn't fetch the island in the first place. It just
right.
So we see the island drop, but no Teleri come over yet. At the beginning of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In Act 1, we can go to Act 1 now, right? In Act 1,
yes.
We have to have the announcement of the pregnancy, I believe, because we got to get going on that. Okay.
Muriel could tell Indus, like, guess what? I'm having a baby. Like, it doesn't have to be a huge.
Yeah.
Indus could be getting ready to leave, maybe. How long is an elfish pregnancy?
1 year.
Millennia. Or
1 year.
One regular year, not one.
For elves, their birth date and their conception date are the same date.
Of the sun or the trees.
That's not true of humans.
It's definitely not true of humans. Humans are 9 months. It's
I'm kind of glad that that's the case.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, elves might be the celebrate the conception date, not celebrate the birth date people, but I'd have to go check laws and customs. It's the same day, so it's just 1 year different in age.
Kind of that would predate the existence of the sun, but whatever.
Well, laws and customs is written after the sun.
Yeah.
So the times related are, I think, years of the sun. But I haven't read Laws and Customs for like 10 years, so my recollection of minor details is maybe a little off. But I do know it's a 1 year for pregnancy.
Is that in the appendices of LOTR, or is that in
No, it's in Laws and Customs of the Eldar.
Which is in the Soul.
Which is in Morgoth's Ring, which is History of Middle-earth, Volume 10.
Oh, well,
All right.
grab those then, and I'll...
Okay. So, if we get... can we have Indus getting ready to make her final move out of Tyrion, and Muriel gets her to stay because she's pregnant?
Yeah, she could ask her, can you delay this for another year, I guess. The Vanyar are supposed to all be out by now.
That's my
for our
point.
show, we can... Yeah, so they could all be gone except for Indus. That's fine.
Right, like the last holdouts or the last 5 people.
Right, and it's easier to show that the Vanyar are all gone if we have one house of Vanyar still there.
Yeah. And
a whole city of Noldor, than to just have a city of Noldor and somehow hope the viewers notice that there's no Vanyar in the city. Nobody with blonde hair anymore.
Yeah.
It's easier to call attention to.
Right. So we're able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Anyway. So for okay, but so in Act 1 then, if we have the teaser be the dropping of the ship, we have Act 1. The first thing that happens in Act 1 is the announcement of the pregnancy. We need to go back and check on Elway's dudes.
Do we want to show Finway's reaction to the news that Muriel's having a baby before we have the scene with Inidus? Like, because usually the first person you would tell would be your husband, I would think.
Yes. Yeah.
In most cases. So, like, are we going to show that scene, or are we just going to presume that it already happened? No, I don't think you hunt down your random friend and you're like, guess what? You're the first person I'm telling this to.
Yeah. What is his reaction? If we did show that, what would that look like?
Oh, he's got to be ecstatic.
He wants a house full of children, by the way.
Yeah. Aww. He wants 80 million kids.
I mean, not quite, but I mean, he wants a house full of children.
I'm having trouble depicting that as just like dialogue.
What?
I kind of think that needs to be like, slow motion with no dialogue and only music.
And we just see the reaction on it. So we see her tell him something, and then the reaction on his face being really excited for her.
Like, I know that she's already pregnant, but then when she actually goes to tell him, I don't have to write dialogue for that.
I'm sure that elves just know intuitively that they're pregnant, Alex.
Probably.
She walks in and he's like, awesome. Exactly like that, by the way.
And I'll bet you that they don't do that, Alex.
Yeah, I would imagine they do have menstrual cycles.
Yeah,
because if you think about it, elves and humans can have babies together.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So it has to work at least pretty.
So un-elvish.
Is it?
How is it un-elvish?
I don't know.
Your experience with this and how
are they mammals?
All right, you know what? I'm out of this decision.
All right,
look, you want to do it.
How about we just acknowledge that we're not going to be discussing the menstrual cycles at any point? So it's an irrelevant question.
Don't rule anything.
But as far as the biological mechanical stuff, I mean, you're the one looking up laws and customs right now. Any details we have about this are in there. And the warning on laws and customs is you can't really take it all verbatim and be like, this is totally the way it is. It's a little weird. So some of that stuff you're going to use. As far as Muriel discovering the pregnancy, I would think we would want to go more mystical than biological with this, where she just knows there's a life growing in her and, has like a mental awareness of it. Maybe that's the first little premonition vision thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we're supposed to believe that she's able to pour her life force into this baby, there's already mystical connection going on there.
Yes.
So I say we just capitalize on that.
Yeah. So if she's going to...
Rather than show her, like, ticking off her calendar and going, oh, le gasp, I am late.
We're not...
Somebody write that down.
I'm not a dialogue person, you guys. Like, that's not what I do here.
No, but I think you've made the right point, which is if we want to show this pregnancy over time, we have to make some decisions up front of how to convey the mystical part of it. So her realizing she's pregnant should be a very mystical thing and not a very biological thing.
Okay, so should we do the thing where, like, she's walking along, going through her day, and she stops suddenly in surprise and puts her hand on her stomach, and then looks up with an expression of wonder on her face? I mean, I've seen this done. That's why I'm asking. Never having been pregnant.
Is there something inherently wrong with that? I know it's cheeseball. I know it's silly, but like, why not? I mean, it's cute. It's fine. Elves are cute too.
Considering how important this is going to be to the episode, her reaction to the knowledge is kind of important.
This thing.
What?
Elves are the most serious of serious things that can be serious. It is no.
Laws and customs has
All right, let's take a break on that note while Brian's researching, and we'll be back in a moment. So this has been the SilmFilm script discussion, season 2, episode 6, part 3. We'll be back in a moment, everybody.
The song.